Hello again, aviation folks and friends. We've got a short video today looking at the Be-Light Ultra Cub and those aircraft that are very similar to this that have either flaps or flaperons. Wanted to demonstrate a short field takeoff procedure that I have found works extremely well for this type of an aircraft. In this procedure, the trick we're going to look at is something I borrowed from the STOL pilots and learned about when I was up at AirVenture 2021 this year. I had been practicing short field takeoffs by setting maximum flaps and then doing the takeoff. And what I found is that I shortened my takeoff roll by about 100 feet. So I think my takeoff roll with no flaps is about 800 feet using a half VW engine. And I could reduce that to about 700 feet using full flaps right from the start of the takeoff roll. In this new procedure, what we'll do is we will start with no flaps at all. The advantage here is that you will gain speed more quickly because there's less drag. You give it full power and go full nose down on the stick, and this is not a problem because once you gain flying speed, you're not going to tip the tail so high that you might run into the prop. There's a lot of folks that have that concern, and once you start practicing this procedure, you'll find out pretty quickly that's not going to happen. The prop really will only go down if there's some kind of a force to slow you down. So if, for instance, you start your takeoff roll and you get the tail in the air, forward stick, you're holding forward stick, and you have a sudden loss of engine while you're still on the ground, and you're going to be getting a lot of drag from the grass, yeah, in that situation, you might find that the nose might drop, and if you lost your engine, you'd want to pull back on a stick, get that tail on the ground, and stay put. If you have full power and everything's going right, you're not going to push that nose into the ground. So in this procedure, you're parked. If you have brakes, the brakes are applied. You give it full power, full stick forward, and you let go of the brakes and start accelerating. You'll find that the tail will start to fly pretty quickly. And as you're getting up to your takeoff speed, right at the moment where you're getting ready to take off, right, you've hit your 35, 40 knots, 50 knots, whatever it may be, you have your hand on the flap lever. As soon as you pull that stick back to rotate, you immediately go to full flaps. And what that does is it takes your forward speed and gives you a quick burst of energy that you can convert to altitude as you climb out. You'll get to that 50 feet minimum obstacle clearance pretty quickly, which is very nice. And then you start to reduce the flaps and resume your normal climb. This is important for those of us that fly with a half VW engine because, as we know, the half VW has a lot of torque, but it doesn't have a lot of thrust. With the two-stroke engines, it's the other way around. You've got a lot of thrust, but you don't have a lot of torque. And what that means for the two-stroke engines is they're fantastic for climbing. They've got that high RPM, that prop is spinning like crazy, and they'll climb out all day long, leave us half VW guys in the dust. When we get to cruise, that's where the half VW starts to pay dividends, because now we start to outperform them in just raw speed because we've got that extra torque that we can convert now into horizontal speed, and the two-stroke guys will lag behind in that. So the takeoff is really the key element here. We want to get clear of the ground, safely up to altitude, start to establish that cruise. And with that, I will segue into the video and talk you through the procedure. Okay, so right here we're starting to get lined up for takeoff. So I've already made the announcement on the radio. I'm taking the active runway, checking everything, going through the flap handle, going across my panel. Everything's all set. I've got the brakes applied, full power, and here we go. So I'm gaining speed, got that stick all the way forward. Holding the stick forward. Okay, got my hand on the flap lever now. Tail's up, and here we go. Boom, right there. Did you see it? Okay, let's slow that down and take another look. Okay, here we are, really slow. Pull that stick back. Full flaps, and you can see the climb rate is really good. I mean, this is great for a half VW. So we're climbing out. Everything is looking really good here. Okay, From this point on, we've got ourselves established. We want to get speed, so we're not climbing anymore. We're going to start to reduce flaps gradually, not too fast. You don't want to create a sudden change in attitude. You're maintaining your climb out and gradually reducing those flaps. They're all the way down, and we're off to go flying. It's as simple as that, and it works great. So there you have it. I think this is a fantastic technique, and I'm glad I picked this up from the STOL pilots. So again, the whole trick to this is that as soon as you apply power, you want to get that stick forward so you can get into a flying attitude, get your tail off the ground as quickly as possible and gain speed. Then, once you're at your rotation point, right, when you're ready to take off, it's a fluid motion with both hands. One hand pulling the stick back, with the other hand dropping your flaps. And what you'll find then is that, yeah, you'll lose a little bit of speed in the climb, but you're transferring all of that energy from the takeoff speed to climb. Get up to that 50-foot or however high obstacle clearance at altitude, and then start reducing your flaps gradually so that you can get into your normal flight position and start to resume your climb out and go off flying. So again, it's a great technique. I think you'll enjoy it. Would love to hear your comments on this. So thanks everyone. I'm glad you're here to watch. Get out there, fly, be safe, and have a good time. And I'll see you next time.